Good evening. It's 6 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and start. We do have a quorum. Thank you, everyone. Ms. Metzler is on the phone. She will be joining us to vote.
She is allowed to vote as long as there's a majority in the room, which you have this evening. And so, yes, she can vote.
Do we have anyone desiring to address? No? Okay. Let's go to the June and July.
Thank you, Ms. Morris. You have 2 months of financial statements in the month of June and the month of July. I think everything is in good order with these reports, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. A few things that I would highlight to you. On the very first page, the statement of funds for the month of June. I would call your attention right in the middle of the page. We have a new line item under general and restricted funds for revenue bonds, dorm. And that represents the money that, or the bond issue that we voted on earlier this year. The funds were received during the month of June. So that account began the month at zero, ended the month with almost $25 million. That's the bond money. And it will slowly come out of that account over the next 18 to 24 months in a phase. It will definitely start. But you can keep track of it each month looking at this particular line item on the statement of funds. And also at the very bottom, I'm just right now wanting to call your attention that we are about to transition our Medal of Honor account. It has been a construction account up until now. For the past 3 years, I guess, we've received state appropriation for the facility. We've kept those monies in this account. And now we have received approval from the state to get operating funds for the next biennium. We should receive $500,000 in September of this year, $500,000 September of next year. That is intended to be used toward the operations of the museum. So we're going to be keeping that money in this line item account. So there again, we can keep track of what has been received for that particular purpose, and those funds, as it becomes an operating account, every single month when we have expenses that the college pays that's associated with the museum, we will, at the end of the month, go to this account and reimburse the college for those expenses. Therefore, all the operating expenses will be covered with these state funds. Does anyone have any questions about the way that operates? Good, good. I think the only other thing I would draw your attention to, I've told you many times the report I like to watch the most is probably the cash flow report. And, you know, it always builds up toward the January and February of each year, and then every month for the last 6 months it goes down, down, down. It's just the nature of the cash flows for this business that we're in. But I also want to call your attention to the fact that when we received $25 million of cash from the bond issue, that is now showing up on the cash flow report. So, you know, there's no reason to get too excited to see this large balance of cash reserves, because we know what it's for, and it will be spent over the coming months as we complete that project. So if you're trying to compare some of these reports, go back to the previous month, previous year, something like that, just remember there was a huge influx of funds that happened during the month of June, and it may need to be taken into consideration as you make those comparisons. Are there any specific questions that anyone might have about something that you see in the financial reports? Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
move on to the consent agenda. Does anyone have an item A through D that they would like removed? Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped you.
That's fine.
No.
You'd like to skip-
Hold on, let's go back to
Okay,
the chancellor's report.
No, we're good. You have the report. What I've begun to do each month is to write a narrative for you, because a lot of times it's just, you can read it, and if you have questions, you can ask me. So there is a report there. I would highlight one thing today. I'm proud to say that we had our convocation today, and many of our folk, well, everyone in the room was there, so it's been a long day for them, but went very well, was focused around our pathways work. We had a guest speaker today, Dr. Kim Lowry with the Texas Association of Community Colleges. We did a lot of great table work among our colleagues, and so more to come on our pathways, but they were all in casual attire, and they said, do we need to dress up? So I said, I don't think the board will mind one time for you to be in jeans, and we're good. So thank you for everyone that did that. Dean Flushy and the Pathways team chaired that activity today, and so thank you to each of you that were involved in that and every one of our table facilitators. It was a great day. So if you have any questions, I'll answer them about the report. Otherwise, you have my report in front of you. There we go. That's
Okay.
easy.
You know what, I would like to take a moment, because you don't realize how NCTC touches your lives, but in the last week, I happened to be at NTMC Hospital, and we had 2 students there in the ER, and they did great. Made me proud to see them. And also my daughter, who graduated, needed help with a resume, came back. She has 2 job interviews. So everybody, use your resources, because they're here. That's all.
Well, no, we appreciate that.
Just
Thank
want
you.
to take a moment. So now, how about consent agenda? Try it again. Anybody have anything they'd like to remove? No? Then I'll take a motion. Thank you. Motion by Dr. Grimes, second by Dr. Bellows. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. Miss- Thank you. I don't know if you guys heard it, but Ms. Metzler averted affirmative. Motion carries. Thank you. Now, move to the budget. We are ready to move to discussion and action items. Consideration of approval of the 2025-2026 NCTC budget. Dr. Miller.
Thank you, Ms. Morris. I believe each one of you were present at the June workshop, and I know we discussed a lot of the options, but also challenges that we have had putting together a budget for this coming year. And I can honestly say I'm very pleased with where we ended up with the budget that's being presented today. There were days over the past couple of months that I did not think we would arrive with a finished product that I think is going to serve as well like this budget will do. Before I go too far, I want you to know there is a loose set of charts at your desk, and that's my effort to notify you that the charts that are included in your budget or in your packet were incorrect. At least the top chart was wrong. And so I didn't know if someone was going to go behind me and be doing the math to see that those percentages weren't quite accurate. And so I wanted to give you the corrected figures there. But it does go to show, I can tell you on the top chart, the reason you don't have the right data is that was last year's data. So honestly, now you can compare last year and this year if you look at the bad chart versus the good chart. So I just wanted to call that to your attention. The budget that we have to act on tonight is approximately $78 million. It's just over $4 million more than we've had this past current year. I think it's rather amazing, though, that out of that $4.4 million increase in the budget, $3.25 million are the direct result of increases in financial aid. So when we build a budget, financial aid is totally an offset. If we plug in $1 for revenue with financial aid, we also have $1 of expense, because that aid comes into the college, but it then goes to pay tuition or go directly to some of our students. So, so when you look at a $4.4 million increase, 3/4 of it is the direct result of increases in federal financial aid, which is totally good thing for our people, for our students, and we're glad to see that. There's also a significant increase in salaries and benefits. Benefits, as we discussed back in June, the 8% increase on insurance costs, and those costs hit both the employees directly and the college, who also pays a good portion of the insurance payment for our employees. There is
the number of employees decrease?
Actually, it's pretty steady. There, it kind of depends on when you take the snapshot, if it's up or down. But when I was working on the budget, it showed to be almost flat from last year. So.
And what was the pay raise for our employees?
Employees, full-time employees, are receiving a 3% increase. It's for all eligible full-time employees, and we determine eligibility if they've been here at least 6 months. And as Dr. Wallace mentioned at convocation this morning, we went the extra mile because of the increase in insurance costs. That's going to hit all of our folks, no matter how long they've been here. So we were able to allocate a small amount, honestly, just to make sure that those employees for less than 6 months would at least get enough to cover the increase in insurance costs. So they're not getting a pay cut after September the 1st. So that adjustment has also been made. I also want to let you know that our part-time faculty, adjunct faculty, and this also applies to overloads for full-time faculty, there is a $10 per hour increase for part-time instruction.
What is that right now?
We've been at $670 per hour, and it's going up to $680. And when I say hour, I mean semester credit hours. So if you teach a 3-hour class, it's been $2,010. It will now be $2,040 for a part-time instructor, adjunct, or overload. We were also able to maintain, in my view, we're maintaining a contingency fund of about $1.7 million. If you actually look at the line item, last year we had a contingency of $3.1 million, but at the time we did that, we stated we were building in the expected debt service for the new dorm project. And that has been completed, or the funding has been completed. So now it has its own separate line item in the budget. So it's been pulled out of contingency. So there's still about $1.7 million that we have to prepare for just the very kind of contingencies we have actually needed this year, because, as we stated, we are receiving a cut in funding from the state, and technically part of that is on this year's funding allowance that was made to us earlier in the year. They're essentially pulling back $1.1 million, and it's because of this contingency we had the money available set aside, so we are able to handle that when that comes to us in the next couple of months. Any questions about, yes, Dr. Wallace?
I mean, as a part of the new funding model, I would also just remind the board that the 1.7 million of projected revenue loss from the state is a projection. We can outpace that still. That is just that they believe that's where we'll land. You could do better. I mean, there's fluctuation there. And part of the 1.1 million too, we're still grappling with how we pay that back. They have offered us the ability to do that over a 5-year period. We may look at that. It's interest free. You kind of think, okay, maybe we do that and earn interest off that million that we would still keep to pay the debt off or the difference off. But there's a lot of nuances to that we're working through, and so we'll let you know as soon as we make recommendation for that. But we would always keep the money in place, and maybe you could use the interest actually to help pay that payment over the 5-year period. But I just remind you, the ever-changing dynamics of HB8 funding affects those every year. There are 18 colleges this year of the 50 paying back money currently. And there are at least, I think, 23, and I'd have to look again, 18 to 23 that are being projected loss in the next year. And so that is not just an NCTC issue, but we're looking at that and working with coordinating board, honestly, to try to figure out how we can project those numbers more effectively, because we don't have those formulas in hand as we sit today, and it's making it very difficult to say, well, where did we really miss the mark, or did we really miss the mark? So we've been even on conversations, Melinda and Kate and some of us today, our registrar, on staff with coordinating board today, and so trying to work on that diligently. So that takes a lot of getting used to. We're so accustomed to the 2-year. We're so accustomed to, well, why does it go down 1 year and up the next year? It's because of the fluctuation of that new formula. Yes, sir.
I have a question on that. When you say projected, and we could maybe lessen that amount that the state would reduce or take back, how can you lessen that amount? Is it like the programs, graduation?
So that's part of what we are trying to get a hold of. Right now, they show that we have a reduction in transfer. But I will be very open with you. We have had to bolster from the 23-24 year, we had to bolster the numbers by one staff member. It is a manual process to graduate each student. We think graduation is they walked across the stage, we shook hands, they're done. We have to certify their graduation by individual student. And if you run out of time, coordinating board says, well, your time's off. And if you've been working diligently, you still may miss turning some in. And we did, honestly, we just didn't get it. The time ran out. We've added to staff. They're doing the best they can. We're ahead of the curve right now. But what we used to be able to do is go in rear, so to speak, and then report that back to the coordinating board and say, hey, we missed these. We'll decertify our data. We'll bring you this, and then you'll fund us. They don't want to do that anymore. And there's where we're having the negotiation is we haven't turned this in to begin with. Can we not turn these in as 24-25 data and at least reduce the negative projection by some? So that's what we're in the conversation with coordinating board right now. And we're sending them data and should get a response by tomorrow afternoon, actually, on what we're looking at. But until we have the raw data, till we have the formulas, I hate to say, well, it's just if we did this, this would fix it. There is no set thing. It may be that we just need to articulate the importance of pathways, no loss content, no loss courses, or it could be, we have a certificate program that's performing at a high level we look at. So what are you doing that's different that helps us get those students through that program? Example, nursing has one of the highest completion rates because once you're in nursing school, you want to do your best to not be kicked out of nursing school. You want to finish that program. So
I was just going to say that just like last year, because we did not meet their projections, they took money back. This next year, if we exceed their projections, come mid-year, we're in line to get additional funds from them. So it does work both ways. We could get some of that back if our numbers this next year exceed what they have projected for us.
It's based on calendar year as where these
academic year.
Academic year,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay. Thank you.
And we would be glad to share the complicated calendar with you if you'd like to see that. We can get you a copy of that. It's crazy, but we can get it for you.
My head started spinning thinking I was going to have to try to explain that.
Calendar.
I don't know that I can explain that to anybody, the calendar.
There's 4 of us, we might get there.
It's an attempt to be more equitable.
Are there any questions that you might have about the proposed budget?
I don't know if we probably want to mention too that the proposed budget does have a, going up to your rollback, no new rate, correct, in revenue. You might want to mention that so that they're.
The next agenda item, we are going to talk about the tax rate. Yes, so as this budget was crafted, we assumed in its creation that we would go up at a rate close to but underneath the, what used to be called rollback rate is now called the voter approval rate. We utilize the data that we receive from the local appraisal district, and I'll be going over that on the next agenda item. But it may seem a little illogical, but by law, we have to pass the budget first, and then we have to wait to pass the tax rate. So we have to plug something into the budget for a tax rate. So we have plugged in an increase of approximately 7.8, 7.9%. But if you as the board decide on some different tax rate, we will then go back and make an adjustment to the budget after the fact. But as it is right now, this has additional revenue that would be generated from approximately 7.8, 7.9% increase in the tax rate.
So I'll make a motion that we accept the budget as presented by Dr. Miller.
Thank you. We have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Thank you. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to item B, consideration of proposing the ad valorem tax rate for 2025, 2026. Dr. Miller.
Now we come to the tax rate. and the first thing I want to clarify for you, some of you may remember this, but we are not voting on the tax rate tonight. We are proposing a tax rate because tonight we propose a rate, and then depending upon what that rate might be, there are some statutory requirements that immediately will go into effect. What you have in front of you, I have presented 3 different options for a tax rate. There is nothing written in stone or magical about what has been presented. You can come up with anything. I'm just giving 3 examples. And these examples basically come from a lot of the state formulas that are out there for taxing entities and how to create your new tax rate. What you have with option A is what the state refers to now as the no new tax rate. In theory, that's the rate designed to collect the same amount of revenue this year as was collected last year. Actually, we collect more money even if we set it at the no new tax rate. There are a lot of complications, and you have, I believe, the 10 pages of the worksheet included in your material that you can go through and see how some of these rates are determined. But the no new tax rate that the appraisal district came up for is using these forms is essentially 9.3 cents. Option B is our current tax rate. That's what we charged this past year. And the current tax rate is 9.45 cents. Option C is just under the voter approval rate. It used to be called the rollback rate, because if you go over this rate, you must have an election. And honestly, if you wanted to choose such a rate, tomorrow is the deadline for applying with the state to meet the November 3rd, 4th, whatever the date, the first Tuesday in November, when the next election's being held. So there, like I said, there are statutory requirements. Option A, the no new tax rate. The convenient thing about that rate is if you select that rate, we're over and done. There's no public hearings. There's no additional steps required. We could move forward. Anything higher than that, a fraction of a cent higher, and then we don't have a vote, but we do have to have a public hearing because we're going up on the tax rate. And so we have to publish that in the local paper. We have to post it. There are hoops we have to jump through. There'll be a public hearing before the next meeting in September, and then we would vote on it at September's meeting. And so that's anything above the no new tax rate, but below the voter approval rate. Those are the rules. And historically, we've always been somewhere in between. If we haven't selected the no new tax rate, we've stayed underneath that voter approval rate. I don't know that.
I would like to make the motion that we adopt option C.
I second that.
Second that?
Yes, Aaron.
I was going with that vote, but so I was just asking, as far as being able to achieve growth here at Kempston, one of the things I've heard from people around the community is the campus experience, the in-class instruction. You know, going back towards that, really developing and growing this campus. And I understand we would need that funding in order to achieve that, correct?
Yes, your local tax dollars, if we are able to generate whatever, $500,000, $1 million of additional local tax revenues, those dollars must be spent in Gainesville on this campus.
Okay.
They cannot be taken outside and spent elsewhere. It will be spent here.
That confirms my vote to second.
Okay.
Any more discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye. Aye.
Ms. Morris,
Oh, yeah.
we do need a roll call
Oh,
vote
thank you.
because it has to be a
Thank you,
recorded vote. Yes.
I got you. All right. Mr. Krebs,
Yes.
just say aye. It has
Oh,
to be individual.
sorry.
Sorry, it has to be individual.
I said aye.
Yeah. Dr. Fellows?
Aye.
Mr. Grime?
Aye.
Myself, Christy Morris, aye. Mr. Henderson?
Peter Henderson, aye.
Erica? Thank you. Carla?
Aye.
Thank you. That's,
All right.
that's good now?
Thank you. Yes. Yes.
You got it. Okay, moving on to item C, consideration of awarding the landscaping contract for Denton County campuses.
Good evening. How are y'all? So I'm here to present the landscape contract for Denton County campuses. It expires in a few weeks on August 31st. We had open bidding held on May 28th, 2025. We had 4 different proposals, as you can see in your packet: Yellowstone Landscaping, Liberty Landscape, Sungrow Landscape, and Perfect Finish Landscaping. As you can see, the lowest vendor was Yellowstone Landscaping. We elected to select Liberty Landscape. We've been with Liberty since the Corinth campus opened in 2000. They have been servicing all of the campuses since. We're very happy with the service. He's really responsive when we have needs for the campuses regarding landscaping, sprinklers, irrigation, that type of thing. Obviously, as part of the landscape, you want the campus to look great, inviting, and so forth. So he's done a really good job for us. So I propose the action of a formal agreement with Liberty Landscape for Denton County. Any questions?
Is that a one-year contract or?
Yes.
And do you know how much more that is than their prior bid? Or last year?
Prior bid to Liberty.
Yes, like how much they've gone
Last
up.
year, it was split out between the campuses, and so it wasn't Denton County as a whole. And so do you have those numbers, Robbie?
Okay.
No. Okay. Yeah, we split it. So we are consolidating it now.
Okay, no problem.
Any questions?
Accept a motion? Landscaping?
We don't have
Oh, can you be first, Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Okay. How about second? Thank you, Ms. Sullivan. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Moving on to item D, consideration of approving contractor for Gainesville campus residential housing.
Good afternoon. As you recall, at the board meeting in May, the board approved the issuance of revenue bonds in the amount of $25 million for new residential housing on the Gainesville campus. Our architects, BYSP out of Wichita Falls, they had been working on a design and drawings. And so once they got their final design and drawings all done, they took it to the city. The city signed off on the drawings and the design. So then we advertised for bids, and we had the bids come back on August the 5th, 2025. After we received the bids, the architects, myself, board member John Grime, and Dr. Wallace met and evaluated all the bids from all the contractors that were submitted a bid. Key Construction's proposal of $19,655,468 was the construction company that ranked above all the other contractors after we evaluated all the bids. So therefore, the administration would like to board to approve Key Construction Company for the construction of the Gainesville campus residential housing.
Do you have anything to add?
Sure. We met and reviewed the plans, and BYSP had done a great job of leveling the bids and making sure that the scope was leveled amongst the 4 different contractors. And as we reviewed the bids, we definitely came in well under our budget and where we thought we were going to be. And I remember, I don't know, it's probably been 10 years ago since I first got on. We've been talking about this project, and it was about half the cost and at the time, but we weren't ready to move, and so construction costs have gone up, and surprisingly, I thought we were going to be actually over the budget we set when we were talking about this, and so I would personally was pleased that the pricing was where it was. And for me, I'm going, hey, if we're going to build a dorm, you know, the best time was obviously 10 years ago, but the next best time is right now. So if you know, I think it's time to get moving. We've been talking about it for a long time, and I don't think the prices are going to go down any further. So I think we are building a Class A building. It's a nice concrete and steel building. It's not a wood frame. We've gone 1,000 different ways as we looked at this, and we didn't want anything that in 10 years we were going to have to do some major maintenance to. So I think we have a nice building that BYSP has put together, and something that will last for a long time on this campus.
I will add that the architects have been in contact with all the contractors that submitted a bid to go over their proposals, and their feedback to us was they recommended the Key Construction as well.
Have you or you seen a building that they have built?
I have. Key is, I mean, they're a pretty big contractor. They do a ton of work in the DFW area for everything from, we've done some data center work with them at the company I work for. We don't do a whole bunch of work, but a lot of their work is in the institutional and the college space. So they're definitely a good, reputable contractor.
They're just now wrapping up a residential dorm on the campus at Texas A&M.
Stephenville, I believe, right?
Stephenville?
Well, I think it was A&M's Tarleton, yep.
Any other questions?
They give any kind of timeline as far as what?
Well, if we get approval tonight, hopefully we'll get a contract in the next few days and hopefully break ground in September.
Great.
And then the schedule, Robbie, for completion was about, wasn't it? About a year and a half, yep.
Okay.
I'll accept a motion.
So moved.
In a second? Mr. Kretz? All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye. 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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Let's see. Moving on to item E, consideration of adopting a resolution authorizing the continuation and ratification of the North Central Texas College Faculty Senate.
And I'll so move.
We have a second?
Second.
I'll second.
Oh, I've got, Ms. Sullivan, sorry, I just write slow. I would like to say before we vote, personally, over the years, I've appreciated the voice of the Faculty Senate, and we would not want to lose your representation, so I am happy to do what we need to do to continue that. That said, I think we're ready to vote. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to F, consideration of adopting the 2025-2030 strategic plan. That's Dr. Wallace.
Cognizant of as we move forward is that there is a change in our mission and vision statement. That's very different. We don't do that often. It's been about 15 years or more since we've done that. And so I would say that that took a lot of effort on their part to hone in on that. So I would ask that you would be very, really pay close attention to the change of mission and vision statement. And then the strategic initiatives are fairly nuanced through our values as well as presented. So I think it's a very good plan. It's a strong plan. It was an organic plan. It started with staff and faculty and has moved up through all the areas. It has moved all the way through Chancellor's Cabinet. We approved the plan as it was presented, except for the Oxford comma. But that's because some of us are
I vote for it.
say, okay, then, yes. So you vote along with Dr. King and Dr. Wallace and the others that don't believe in the English language, don't That was an argument of ours. But anyway, it's a good plan. We present it for your review. We also ask that if you have things that you're concerned or have questions, Dr. Smith, we're all here to answer questions about it. Be glad to do that.
So the state has made new mandates about what the board is supposed to be involved with.
Yes.
So one of the statements is, even in your evaluation, is, has the board been involved with this through its development?
Yes.
So have you,
Executive committee.
okay.
The
We're interviewed, asked lots of questions.
Yeah, the executive committee was chosen as kind of a focus group of the board, so that we didn't have to have quorum. But again, we're open to any if you've read it and say, I have a question about this, or I'd like to add something, that's what this evening's all about, is that. That, yes, to your point, yeah.
So are we looking to approve this tonight? Okay.
I mean,
Any other questions?
that would be our recommendation.
I'll accept a motion.
I so move.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Grime. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye. Opposed? Carries. Thank you.
So those of you in the room that served on the committee, if you're here, but Dr. Smith, you should thank you for your work. We really appreciate that.
And now to item G, consideration of setting date for Chancellor's evaluation and contract extension and review of board self-evaluation. So we can choose any time. I would suggest if we would do it at the next board meeting, September 15th, maybe keep the agenda kind of light. That way we can have time for our executive session. Everybody should be planning on being here that night anyway, but we're open to whatever dates. It would be in our best interest, though, to do it either that night or earlier. Anybody has a preference?
I prefer September the 15th. I mean, everybody's already here.
For sure.
It'll work for me.
Okay. Do we have to, we need to
You don't have to
vote
vote
on
on
it?
it. You're just
we need to agree
acclimating that
on
you
it.
want to do it there, and we'll put it on the agenda.
Okay, we will make that September 15th and start at 6 p.m.
We will keep the agenda as light as possible.
We will have enough to discuss. And no executive session this
No
evening?
executive
No executive session, so just need one motion to adjourn?
You got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
I can't get too many dates for enough to,
I know.
it's hard enough